deep in the Arizona wilderness. As daylight faded across the desert mountains, boy stood on a narrow road and held broken mirror. Thanksgiving 2007. Chris Buchleitner was 9 years old. The mirror had been ripped off the side of his mother's minivan moments before, when it ran off the road and rolled down a steep hill. Now her mother was stuck in the canyon. In the crumpled van, Chris had escaped from the van and climbed up to look for help. They were a few miles from the Mexican border. Chris had recently seen a border patrol helicopter and was hoping to use the mirror as a signaling device. But the helicopter was nowhere in sight. His mother's cell phone was out of range. Chris was alone, afraid, running out of ideas. And then, in the gathering dusk, he saw a stranger approaching. The man came from Mexico. Head was planning to cross the border illegally and start a new life. He became separated from his companions while running from the authorities and criminals who preyed on immigrants in the desert, but was still free. And with a few more breaks he could head to Tucson or Phoenix and find the job needed to bring his family back home. This man had to make a choice. He could continue to be safe from the border patrol for now and leave the child on his own. Or he could stay, help boy, and risk being caught by the people had been running from for past 3 days. Manuel Cordova's decision would have profound consequences for both of them. Later, when the story emerged, it would be invoked in high-priced national debates about the costs and benefits of illegal immigration. This conversation would intensify in the years that followed. But when night fell on Forest Service Road 39, political arguments didn't matter. There was only child needing protection, a woman needing saving, and man who seemed to be their only hope, fearing tragedy. A mother and her son go on one last camping trip. To this day Chris doesn't know why this happened. Maybe the sun got into your eyes or part of the road gave way. Whatever the reason, her mother lost control of the van. She screamed. The minibus was ambushed and overturned. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. And as van rolled and crashed down the hill, Chris pressed himself against backseat and held on for dear life. Chris loved camping, but he always had a bad feeling about the trip. He wasn't sure why. Chris and his mother and father once explored these majestic open spaces by traveling the American West in their pop-up camper. But such a trip would never happen again. Chris' father that September. Now Chris and his mother, a biology teacher named Dawn Tomko, were persevering on their own. Chris told his mother he didn't want to go camping. But Dawn, a former park ranger, couldn't wait to get back into nature. Chris Buchleitner and his mother, Dawn Tomko, have gone on many camping trips together, like the one shown here. Courtesy Buchleitner family, he planned another trip for Thanksgiving week at his home.